All right, folks, today we're gonna make an egg pasta dough. Now, you wanna start out with quality ingredients, so we're using Caputo 00 flour here. We're gonna weigh out 300 grams. That was a little much, so we're just gonna knock a little bit off. It's okay that's a little bit over. It'll only take what it needs. Pour your flour out and get yourself a nice deep well where you're gonna put your eggs. Once our well is formed, we're gonna get this separate flour container ready in case we need any extra while we need the dough. Go ahead and crack your eggs into the bowl. I saw this on Not Another Cooking Show with Steven. I'm gonna go ahead and scramble my eggs first. Make sure they're good and scrambled, then we're gonna pour them straight into that well. And then we're gonna start kneading with our fork, just like that, slowly pulling in the sides. You can see right there how it's slowly pulling in the flour. And we'll just get more and more flour as we continue to stir. Once it starts to thicken up a little bit, we're gonna put a whole bunch of flour in there and start speeding up this process. Now at this point, we're just gonna get all the flour mixed in with the wet part of the dough. And once it becomes too much for the fork, we're gonna go ahead and pull everything off and start kneading with our hands. Fatto a mano. Now it's gonna be a little bit messy, but trust me, most of that will come off your hands and incorporate itself into the dough. And we're just gonna keep kneading here until all the flour has soaked up all the moisture and the dough has taken up all the flour off the board that it needs. Anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. So there's two ways to form gluten, and that is kneading and resting. So now we're gonna let that rest for a couple minutes, about 15 to 20, maybe an hour or so. And then we're gonna pull it out and we're gonna knead it one more time. Make sure to flour your surface, and then we're just gonna keep folding it over. Working air into that. You wanna roll and stretch the dough. You can switch hands if your hands get tired, like I did here, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up and let it rest overnight. I like to let it rest overnight just so it gives a chance for all the moisture from the eggs to hydrate all the flour. Now we're gonna grab that extra flour container and we're gonna flour our surface where we're gonna roll out our pasta so it doesn't stick to the board. This is our pasta dough that has been resting overnight. We're gonna go ahead and cut into it and see what it looks like. See how we did. Look at that beautiful pasta. All those air bubbles, proud of this one. Now I made a mistake and I started kneading, so I had to start over. So we're gonna cut a couple pieces out of here. I mean, just look at that thing. This is what the kneading and resting did. All those air bubbles means your gluten's formed pretty good. So we're just gonna cut a couple strips to work with at first so that it doesn't dry out. And we're just gonna roll this out, slowly pressing outwards as we roll from the center. You get it nice and long, as thin as you want. I went a little thicker than I probably should have on these, but cut that in half so we can manage it. We're just gonna keep rolling and stretching that dough. Then we're gonna cut our lengths, and all those scraps we're cutting off, we can save those and we'll make them into pasta dough at the end. Now normally this is done with a metal rod, but the skewer worked just fine. So we're gonna pour some semolina on our tray where we're gonna let our pasta rest and kind of dry out. We don't want them to stick to anything. So just take your pasta lengths at an angle, about a 45-degree angle. You're gonna pinch a little bit of the end onto the rod and press down while you roll them out so it kind of flattens and rolls them into the shape. And then we're just gonna repeat the process. Roll out your dough, cut your lengths. You don't want them too long, just a nice pleasant noodle. And then roll them up on your rod, pushing down gently, flattening them out, throw them in the semolina. This is such a nice, fun shape. the inside collects a bunch of sauce, and the fact that there's like the swirly shape just helps soak up sauce and makes it a really pleasant pasta to work with. So now that you got your last ones, make sure they're good and coated in that semolina, and we're just gonna let them dry out. Thanks so much for watching, folks. Appreciate you guys. Be sure to check out part 2, the dish we made with this pasta, coming out soon, only on my page, Johnsy's World of the Dude Network.